I think it is time to start. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Faculty of Economics, Thammasat University, and today's seminar. Well, although we have only a few participants joining the seminar today, I take it as a positive, since we can have a more interactive and fruitful discussion. So, before we enter the seminar, I would like to say something before we start. Sustainability is undoubtedly one of the mega trends of the world. Millions of people living in extreme poverty, inequality is rising, wars and conflicts. Climate change becomes more and more severe. The obvious and immediate example for Thailand would be the flood experienced by 11 provinces, 43 districts in the northeastern region in the past week, the most severe flood in 20 years. Moreover, in the matter directly related to economists, natural resources are depleted. There is a limit to this world, a planetary boundary. How can we use natural resource more efficiently? How can we turn waste to input so that the resources are used more efficiently and extracted less from nature? How can scholars from different disciplines, including economics, contribute to these challenges? And how can these contributions be translated into implemented policies? I hope that today's session will shed some light on these questions. Today we have Dr. Gustavo Arciniagas, my good friend, presenting the topic resource management in peri-urban areas, going beyond urban metabolism. Dr. Gustavo has Colombian origin and he is not an economist. He is specialized in developing, testing, and implementing map table-based tools, special decision support system or SDSS, and planning support system or PSS for geo-design and collaborative planning processes in the context of sustainable spatial development. He is now working in the Netherlands as an independent consultant on GIS and collaborative planning. He is also working on a project funded by the EU Horizon 2020 project. It's called REPAIR, which is an acronym for the resource management in peri-urban areas, which is the topic he's sharing with us today. So, without further ado, I give the floor to Dr. Gustavo.
Thank you, Joel. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming, first of all. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited to be here, and I can't wait to share some things that I have learned on circular economy. But before I start, since we have a few participants, I would like to hear your name and your backgrounds, so I can have a better idea of who's attending this seminar.
Okay, maybe do we have to?
Yeah, please.
Okay, my name is Chon Bunnak. I'm a lecturer at Faculty of Economics. I teach mainly natural resource economics and environmental economics, and I'm also in a research team called Pro Green Policy Research on green economy, which is kind of directly related to the topic. Unfortunately, many of them are faculty executives, so they have a meeting right now. And I'm also working on research on the Sustainable Development Goals. So this is also related to the topic of my research. Thank you.
สวัสดีครับ Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mr. Subshok Mandeep, Master Student from Remote Sensing and GIS AIT. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Panupong. I'm currently a graduate student at here.
Good afternoon. My name is Non. I'm the lecturer here at the Faculty of Economics.
Good afternoon. I am Pete K of faculty, one of faculty here, and I'm interested in the spatial econometry, and I would like to see how to use GF to develop something like a mapping and use data to analyze. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sawan. I am a second year master degree student.
Good afternoon. My name is Vanessa. I'm a lecturer at the Faculty of Economics, Thammasat University.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Dutati Jawanit. I'm also the Faculty of Economics here. So, very welcome you like to present here also.
Thank you. Okay, so already Joel introduced me, so I'm going to skip my name part. I am Gustavo Arciniegas. I have a consultancy firm based in the Netherlands that focuses on geodesign and sustainable development. And I'm here to talk to you about a project called Reaper. It focuses on circular economy and its applicability in 6 European cities. So real quick about me, I hold an MSc degree in geoinformatics, so that's remote sensing and GIS from the University of Twente, faculty ITC in the Netherlands. And also I hold a PhD degree at the VU University in Amsterdam, where I met Joel a few years back. My thesis is entitled Map-Based Decision Support Tools for Collaborative Land Use Planning. This title pretty much summarizes my research interests: collaboration, mapping, and decision support. And the really interesting thing is that these short sentences can be applied to so many fields, for example, circular economy or sustainability, you name it. And that's why I like it very much, because it's very versatile. Now, I own a consultancy firm in the Netherlands. And at the moment, I am a consortium partner of the project, EU-funded project called Reaper, of which the University of Delft, the Netherlands, is the main, the lead partner. Can I do this? Okay, so I'm going to first tell you what this lecture is going to be about. I'll very briefly summarize my PhD dissertation, because this is what I am in this project, because they follow this methodology that I proposed in my dissertation. Has a lot of potential even in this field of waste management and resource management and circularity. Then I'll explain the project, Reaper. The topic of this lecture is called, I will present the consortium, the partners. I'll describe the 6 case study areas, or 6 metropolitan areas in Europe that are the test sites of the project. Explain the methodology briefly and give you an idea where are we standing at this point in the project. Yeah. Before I continue, let's make this lecture as dynamic as possible. If you don't understand anything, just raise your hands. I'm completely fine with that. Interrupt me if you will. If you have a comment, an observation, it is related to your work, please feel free to share with the rest, and also especially Joel. I enjoy very much this kind of interaction. Like, it's more, bilateral than one-sided.
Okay, I'll start interrupting you now.
Go ahead.
Okay, actually the reason I think he should be presenting here is that, as he said, this project is about collaborative planning, so it's not only applicable to the special planning. And I think this is one of our challenges for the Faculty of Economics, that we want to influence policies, but perhaps I think we need more alternatives of how we influence policies. So I guess we can learn a lot from Gustavo about his approach, so maybe we can apply some to our work.
Thank you, Joel. In this lecture I'll first describe my PhD, so you know what I'm about in terms of research interest. We'll talk about the EU-funded project, so for a 4-year project, focusing on circular economy and urban metabolism, waste and resource management, and then I explain the methodology that we intend to, or actually are currently applying in this project. Are you familiar with all these words, these names in the? Has any of you ever not listened to heard these words? You?
Yeah, I think this is well known among environmental economists, but I think maybe in the larger field of economics, maybe not so familiar, I guess.
I would. But as I said, I come from the geosciences, from planning, spatial planning, and when I was invited to participate in writing the proposal for this project, all these names were new to me. Circular economy was new to me. Waste management, no idea. Life cycle assessments. To get the hang of this. Living labs. Well, sustainability, I was very well aware, but living labs was also kind of a new term for me, and actually is all of those terms are actually well defined and studied and addressed in the literature of the European Commission, which is the organization that funds innovation and research projects in the EU. Okay, so this is my book, my PhD thesis. It's called Map-Based Decision Support Tools for Collaborative Land Use Planning. I defended this thesis in 2012 in Amsterdam. It is digitally available. It's free for everyone to download it. It explains my methodology that we are applying in Reaper, and also it's based on 6 peer-reviewed articles. That's the style of most universities in the Netherlands. Applied sciences, they want you to publish articles and then write a thesis about it. So, what did I look at in my thesis? So basically, when you want to plan the future of an area, so we talk about land use, or we talk about activities or transport. Whenever we want to plan the future of an area, inevitably we are involving multiple people, multiple stakeholders, planners or designers. Yeah, and we're talking about collaboration. They need to work together, and this is particularly important in the field of circular economy, because we are involving many disciplines. Also in sustainable development, we are involving environmentalists, landscape architects, finance experts, economists, GIS experts, politicians, environmental politicians, you name it. And inevitably they need to work together. Well, in this case, use maps, information, and tools. At least in my thesis, I focus on the use of maps, but we're talking about information, tools, software, models to accomplish shared goals that are connected to the future of an area. Yeah, so I looked at that. I looked at how easy it is to use maps by groups of people working. Yeah. So why collaboration? Because the pieces of stakes often do not match. So for example, the interest of a province is different to the interest of a city, and at the same time they might differ from the interests of the researchers that are conducting the science, that are creating the science that will guide this policy development process. As I said before, multiple actors need to work together, and very importantly, information needs to be made available. It's crucial to communicate the information coming from stakeholders, from the science, from the methods, effectively to all stakeholders that are participating in the process of creating policy for the particular place. The stakes must be clear. They all need to talk in the same language. For example, you might have a decision maker, a policy expert, talking to an expert in noise pollution. This is going to be a very tricky conversation. So I looked at that. I looked at trying to create a platform with a uniform language using maps. So as I said, multiple knowledge sources, multiple degrees of expertise, interest, scopes. For example, regional policy is different to local policy. And multiple needs as well. And when I talk about needs, I also focus on citizens. How citizens are affected by policies. Whether we need to integrate them in the process or not. How to communicate information on the policy being in process of development to them. So I set myself to develop a methodology that incorporates map-based tools into planning processes with conflicting objectives of stakeholders. So before I continue, are we okay? When I mention conflicting objectives of stakeholders, can you think of an example? Anyone? Please.
Well, the reason I don't speak first because I think maybe the others can also try. I will raise some, and I think Ajahn Non also have some example because it works with communities, and there are always conflict within governments and communities. My experience would be like in the coastal communities, they tend to want to build a dam to prevent flooding from the coastal areas. But then it will conflicting with the interests of the communities that have to live with the transitional area of water from fresh to brackish to salt. So this is an example.
For example, if there is a project to build a highway, and this highway is going to go through a number of cities or communities, it's going to bring air pollution, it's going to bring noise, but also it's going to bring development for the area. So this is a conflict, so it's not necessarily bad or good, but it's an overlapping of interests. So this is what I focus on, and this is my methodology. This is the core of my thesis. Also, we're applying this in repair. Well, a part of this. It has three elements, namely, so we have here tools, models, interactive software. All of the software tools that is usually used by one person working on the computer, creating model outputs, spreadsheets, or simulation model. This is one component. The idea is to use this in a group, collaboratively. Secondly, a touch table, which is a touch-enabled screen, like an iPad, like my smartphone, but then of a sufficiently large size that can hold people working together at the same time. Yeah. So not an iPad, but for example, a screen that is touch-enabled, the size of this screen here. That's what I've been researching. In this case, we're looking at one is a 47-inch, it's quite large, and that was also the main hardware element of my approach. And how do you combine software and hardware? Three things. You organize workshops. You organize workshops in which you invite stakeholders, and the workshops are held at different points of the decision process. Yep. My thesis. Okay, well, I explained the elements. Let's keep this. So how do you combine the elements of the methodology? Specific tools are linked to the touch table. The touch table is essentially a computer. Okay, so you run software in it. The tools are evaluated, and then the tools are implemented in a series of workshops held at various points of the planning process. Stakeholders are helped to build consensus on both current issues and alternative course of actions. So the first, they look at what's going on in the region together. Okay, this is our status quo. So remember these two words. And then you look at alternative course of action. What if we build a hospital here? What if we lay a highway here? What if we build a dam? The computer models are going to help us calculate the impacts. Environmental impacts, social impacts, financial impacts. Yep. Which was actually the topic of my lecture a week ago with the students of GMA. So tools can be GIS, obviously, spreadsheets, multi-criteria analysis, game theory models, agent-based models, life cycle assessments, like in the case of a repair project, etc. Wherever you're able to combine software or interact of tools with maps, then you can combine this, you can bring this into the approach to support the decision process. So you can think of your own tools.
So how many people that you join? Okay, so you have this kind of map.
Yeah.
How many people that you join?
Depending on the size.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a photo of the table now. For example, for repair, we're using this, and this is a 27-inch touch table. The important thing is that it's used horizontally. Okay, so everybody has the same equal access to the information on the tools. This is what we have built for repair. This is actually at the Climate Change Summit in Paris in 2015. we were invited to demonstrate a tool, but for different projects, and we brought a touch table, and it was about climate change emissions. This is more portable. This one is 47-inch. This one can hold up to 10 people. Referring to your question. This is the one that I used in my PhD thesis, also this one. And this is the same one, but then set it to a vertical position so you can communicate results of a workshop, right? So interaction has already happened. When the interaction is happening, it is required that it's horizontally placed. Yep.
But who produced the table?
Oh, there are manufacturers in the Netherlands. I actually was a consultant for the company that built this one. It's a Dutch company called Mapsop. I was kind of a consultant for them building GIS tools, holding workshops. I was part of a project that included a national project that funded the purchase of 7 map tables for Australia. So I traveled, we shipped the 7 map tables, I gave workshops and lectures on how to use them. But then this one's it's quite big, so you can push it, and you can bring it into a big car. Yes?
And then how can we invite the people and how you choose the people that play like the games or the things on the table? Because that's very important for the result.
It is critical. That's a very good point.
Yeah, please.
I'm coming to it.
Okay, sure.
Because that's something I researched also.
We read.
But I'm spending too much time on my thesis, and actually this is not circularity, so I will try to rush. So I'm going to. Okay, so why map table? Because it's a support tool for face-to-face group collaboration. So in my approach, I want the stakeholders to stand in front of each other and discuss the issues. Not online, not in just sit around, we stand around a map table and we work together. Allows users to work with the computer-based tools without having a computer get in the way. If I bring a computer to a workshop and I'm working on the model and everybody's looking over my shoulder, it's uncomfortable. You understand? It's not going to be dynamic. If I have a horizontal surface, everybody is standing and we have a well-defined structure for the workshop and the usage of the tools, then it flows. Then the meeting becomes dynamic. This is one of the findings of my PhD. And of course you can incorporate all the capabilities of GIS on the software that is built, models. Okay. So workshops. So I'm going to your questions. Planning meetings, we all know what a workshop is. You invite people, you share information, there's some interactivity, some tasks are conducted by participants, and there are some input and outcome. So in my thesis, I proposed 3 types of workshops. Design, analysis, and negotiation. Design happens at the beginning of the decision process. Analysis happens in the middle, negotiation happens near the end. So this is where you are making decisions. Yep. So this is the framework that you use to define participants and tools of that are used that are involved in the workshops. Yeah. So the first one, the first design workshop is about communication. So you want to communicate tools that you present. You also want to communicate information among stakeholders. So I want you to talk to the other stakeholders. I want you to draw on a map. So you need drawing tools. You don't need calculations at this stage. You just want, okay, my problem area is here. So you draw on the map table on top of a map. The other stakeholder needs a similar drawing, and you can recognize points of importance and points of overlap. Yeah. That happens at the beginning. And analysis, you focus on tools. Now you're looking at impacts. You're looking at calculations. Yeah, what are the emissions of this project? How much is going to cost me? What is the performance of the scores? If we're talking about multi-criteria analysis, now you're looking at numbers. And then, so you are playing with scenarios and you're looking at numbers as feedback. Understand?
Yeah. And then the same people, for example, you draw, this is my affected area, and okay, the other guy draw the affected area, and then maybe have some overlap. And then you have the model to calculate the impact.
Yeah.
Right? Use the economics background, and then calculate the data. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is the thing that, okay, and then you evaluate something like that.
The import, that's very critical what you just said. My assumption was that when you can provide information during the workshop in the form of feedback or delta, as you mentioned, that encourages participants of the workshop to talk more, to discuss the topic, to bring out new knowledge that is critical when you are running a collaborative process. So for example, if the status quo is, say for example, let's talk about numbers of money. If I change the land use of these houses, because I don't want my houses to be affected, so this is going to represent, I don't know, €1 million in the indicator. So I'm trying to understand why and to tell it to the participants. If we're looking at, for example, indicators of environmental quality, for example, noise pollution. If I build the road here, it's going to increase this general noise level. Then I want to look at the information. Okay, I want to look at the noise contours, so I use the GIS, and I want to understand why this delta is happening. This is crucial in my approach. It's what I call the real-time feedback. It's an impact assessment tool that happens in real time. So you wait seconds and you see the numbers.
Mm-hmm. And then you negotiate something like that. And you change the scenario.
Well, for example, you say, okay, if I want my houses to stay, then I get the number, but he wants his forest to stay, then he has his number. So we're trying to find the trade-off. We identify the trade-off numerically and also on the map. So at the end of the workshop, we're going to have outcome. We're going to have a report. We're going to have maps created by stakeholders. We're going to have scenarios proposed by stakeholders using the feedback. And that's the outcome that you use in the next workshop when you want to make final decisions. Okay. So anyone with me?
With you.
This is my thesis show.
With you. But just curious to know, because it's very new to me, right? So I'm not quite sure that how many rounds that you have to play. So for example, because for example in the community, there are many people there, right? So how many rounds? Because the table can have only 10, for example.
Yeah, but you can bring 2 tables.
So you will bring many tables?
Well, depending on the funding, but it's, for example...
Because the people that you pick that will really important, right, for the negotiation. So if you change the group, the solution might change.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to communicate the whole process to all stakeholders. Mm-hmm. And they should be able to understand that the participant configuration might change. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, you want to know what are the interests and needs of every stakeholder. So you just want to communicate information. You're not making decisions. So you invite the community, you invite scientists, you invite decision makers.
Oh, but then in the process, there must be more than 10 people, right?
Of course, but then you have to choose representatives of communities, of representative of the municipality, environmental office, and the mayor.
Oh, but you don't do the same topic with different group of people and then try to find a solution.
No. For example, when you're dealing with the second type analysis, you really want to invite researchers, people in charge of making the maps, of creating scenarios, the people knowledgeable in knowledge in the contents.
So different workshops, different group of people.
But the important thing is that the outcome of a workshop is used as an input for the next. Yeah? So for example, if we're going to calculate impacts, we're going to use the maps as input generated in design workshop. And we are using a similar approach in Reaper. But then we're talking about workshops and tools. Yeah. In my thesis I built, but this is more very detailed, I developed a tool to support negotiations. So actually it will draw overlaps on the map, and it will just highlight it so you can concentrate on where is the conflict and try to solve it. So it was more of a software that I built with the help. But I'm not showing this now. Just to give you an idea, for example, if in the workshop we have to, I press on a button and I say, okay, I want to see 20% of the areas that interest me according to the scores. So I see all these areas highlighted on the map. And then I ask the next stakeholder to do the same, and then I identify the overlaps on the map. And then we zoom in and we focus on that area to solve the conflict directly on the map. But this is my thesis, this is not about the circular economy projects. Okay? So keep in mind this is the methodology. Okay, so circular economy. So for those who are not familiar with the term, it's about making linear processes circular. It's about minimizing the amount of waste that is generated in a number of activities. When you minimize waste, how do you minimize waste? Try to convert it into resource. Try to make it turn it into input for a new process. Recycling, for example, repair, reuse. So as I said, circular economy minimizes waste through recycling, repairing, reusing, refurbishing existing materials and products to keep them within the economy wherever possible. It's a process in which waste is understood as a resource. Yeah. So as I explained, traditionally linear economy involves the process of take, make, consume, throw away. So get the raw materials, make it into a product or service, consume it, turn it into waste, and then dump it somewhere, burn it, and that creates a lot of products. The idea is to,
I think it's related to the concept of symbiosis, right? Industrial symbiosis, like using waste of something to be input of another thing. Right?
exactly.
And this is include remanufacturing also, right? Remanufacturing.
Manufacturing.
Remanufacturing.
Yes.
Yes.
I give you one example that's coming to my head now. In Amsterdam, the municipality, they're using recycled plastic as an input to a 3D printer to turn this recycled plastic into benches that they put in parks, for example. So you're combining 3D printing technology, chemistry, and of course planning for allocating these benches. Just one example that I think is pretty cool because plastic is quite a critical material in circular economy. Okay, so we're talking about minimizing waste, and I'll tell you how you minimize waste according to Reaper. So this is the definition of the European Commission. It's not Wikipedia. Okay. Urban metabolism. This also was 1 year ago. It was a new term for me. It's about describing a city as a configuration of flows of energy, resources, waste, information, and people into, out of, and within any given metropolitan area. So it's actually looking at a city or metropolitan area, so number of cities around big city, that is looked at as if it was ecosystem. Yeah. It considers the area as an interacting subsystems permanently adapting to political, economic, and natural environments. Urban metabolism is a framework for modeling complex urban systems, materials, and energy streams as if the city were an ecosystem. You can talk about flows of materials, flows of people, flows of money, flows of resources. Yeah. So the project is called Repair. It's a really nice acronym because it's about repairing. It's a pretty cool one. It's entitled Resource Management in Peri-Urban Areas, Going Beyond Urban Metabolism. It's a Horizon 2020 project, which is an EU research program that focuses on innovation and technology for promoting economic growth and sustainability for the Union. It's a 4-year project. It consists of 18 partners and around 60 people in total. in 6 European cities. This is the kick-off meeting about 8 months ago. You see me here? This is the principal investigator, Professor Arjen van Timmeren from the University of Delft. Delft, they have the University of Delft. They have the most funding, and so they are the leading partner. And I find very cool. This is a project that spans across 6 countries in the Union. I'm not going to mention all of them, but these are all of the participants. We have 6 cities that are case studies in Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Poland, Hungary, and Italy. And stakeholders are universities, research institutions, municipalities. Every municipality for each metropolitan area is involved, and also small and medium enterprises like me. I was chosen because of my experience in geodesign, and also because I am a Dutch-based small medium enterprise. There are other small medium enterprises. For example, the one in Hamburg is a larger company, and they're in charge of developing all the software that we need. Yeah. 18 partners. So the goal of Repair, it's quite an ambitious one, is develop, test, and implement an innovative, transdisciplinary, open source geodesign decision support environment. Remember these words: geodesign decision support environment, or GDSE, for the development of integrative spatial development strategies that understand waste as a resource. In other words, it's a piece of software that is open source that will be used in workshops in 6 cities to follow the path towards circular economy in all of the cities. Okay? That's the goal of the project. The GDSE, the Geodesign Decision Support Environment, will be delivered to local and regional authorities and implemented in living labs in 6 metropolitan areas: Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and Naples, Italy. Łódź, I think you pronounce it like that, in Poland. Pech in Hungary, Ghent in Belgium, and Hamburg in Germany. At the moment, we're busy with Amsterdam and Naples. These 2 cities they constitute the 2 pilot case studies of the project. So we're defining how the software will be made. We're defining all the we're testing the first prototypes in these 2 cities, and I think it's a very interesting decision for a pilot studies, because I don't know if you're aware that Amsterdam and Naples, they have very different waste situations currently. For example, Amsterdam, Naples is the way waste management is controlled by organizations called mafias. So it's not well organized, and throughout the years they have control of what's going on with the garbage generated. And this has caused a number of problems in the area in terms of sustainability and environmental quality. So it is a critical case study to implement the repair methodology. And on the other hand, Amsterdam is they have already ongoing circular economy approaches, and they focus more on optimizing these approaches. So I'll talk more about Amsterdam and Naples in a bit. So remember, geodesign, this is my it's my expertise. It's an interdisciplinary practice, so of course economists are involved. Emerging from the collaboration of professional stakeholders working jointly on a shared focal spatial problem or place. So you have your study area and you have all the different disciplines involved when you want to plan the future of that area. Whether it is waste management or land use or transport or environmental management, you need them to work on the same data, on the same location. This is one professor from from Harvard University. He developed a framework for geodesign. I'll tell more about that. And that was ready. Anyways. So geodesign is mostly applied to spatial planning and environmental planning, and the challenge of RIPER is to bring the lessons and the methodologies of geodesign into waste management. Yep. So the pilot is Amsterdam. This is a map that is showing the Amsterdam metropolitan area. So it's not only the city of Amsterdam, it's also a number of municipalities around Amsterdam, including Haarlemmermeer, which is the municipality in which the main airport is located, Schiphol. We have 36 municipalities, 2.4 million inhabitants in the whole region, and we focus on the circular economy hotbed, which is called the circular economy park. We have to call it like that, in Haarlemmermeer. That will be the hotspot for circularity. We're getting most of the data from the city, and it's where the airport is. If I go back to this map, the airport is located somewhere here. It's the Northern Sea, is Amsterdam. And all these red areas constitute the metropolitan area in which repair will be applied for the pilot case 1.
Can you explain a little bit about the thing called Peri-Urban?
Yes. I think it's later on. I have a slide about it, but I understand it as a metropolitan area. So it's a number of municipalities that are that have grown around the urban center. For example, Amsterdam in this case, or I believe Bangkok also has a greater Bangkok area. It can be seen as a metropolitan area. That are influenced by the whole system. That's where also where all the stakeholders come from. All the stakeholders, all the organizations involved.
So you mean if like compared to Bangkok, so when we talk about this area, it doesn't mean only Bangkok, but also the provinces around Bangkok. Maybe not the whole province, but maybe the districts that they're only connected to Bangkok, because affected by.
Yeah, the way I see it is because they are affected, but also they are providing input in the flows. Remember we are talking about urban metabolism? So also the surrounding cities or municipalities are also giving out flows, people, money, resources, materials that affect the main core city.
So perhaps people who live in Haarlem actually work in Amsterdam and they actually flow back and forth.
Yeah, because for example, because they are connected. A lot of people that work in Amsterdam live in Haarlem. All of the people that go to the airport, but I believe there's a really more detailed definition of Peri-Urban. Okay. But that's how I understand it, because we're looking at an ecosystem. So we don't look at a particular city; we look at a complex of cities. Okay, in Amsterdam, the key challenge is the key material is construction material, building materials. So you are all the waste that is generated out of building projects, concrete, e-waste, electronic waste, steel, etc. is the key material in Amsterdam, and they are designed to have material and energy neutral footprints. Building components are designed to be fully reusable at the end of the intended use cycle. So whenever you want to demolish, and you have to be able to reuse as much as possible all of the waste generated. And also you should be able to improve existing conditions in terms of circularity of existing buildings. Every case study or every Peri-Urban area in RIPER, we have 6, they have a different focus, have a different key flow, key material, key problem. This is the problem of Amsterdam. Amsterdam is known for the recycled figures are high in Amsterdam, so they don't want to talk about household recycling, but more on the building sector for RIPER. Pilot 2 is in Naples. It's a contrasting case study. Naples is located in the south of Italy. This is the It's the Mediterranean Sea, one of the seas of the Mediterranean Sea. I believe it's the Aegean Sea, but I'm not sure. And the peri-urban area of Naples consists of 88 municipalities. They make up a total of 2.9 million inhabitants. As a consequence of waste being poorly managed in the area, natural and built environments are highly degraded and compromised. Criminal organizations have significant influence in this area. So, one example is that they control the waste flows in the region, and this makes this case study really a really complex one and very interesting. The Campania region, which is the region that I showed in the previous map, potentially has 2,500 contaminated sites. These are landfills and areas of uncontrolled waste deposit. Basically, they just chose arbitrarily where to put the waste without any planning, without any circularity, just dump everything in a hole and cover it. And that has caused a lot of contamination in 2,551 sites in the region. So the key challenge of this case study is to take care of landscapes and communities, recover material and non-material damages towards more sustainable development, and critical one, democracy, transparency, and free access to knowledge for planning the future. So here, in contrast to the case of Amsterdam, we're not focusing on building materials, we're focusing on landscape, on sanitizing the landscape in the region.
So what do you mean by democracy? What the problem there? What the challenge there that you face?
Well, that all this knowledge that is generated is put to practice, and that the authorities are the main steerers, the main captains of bringing the science into the policies and not crime organizations. Yeah, because there's a whole lot of knowledge being produced in circularity, in waste management, and especially repair will bring out a lot. And the key challenge is that the authorities can channel this knowledge into proper policy to recover these sites in Italy, in Naples.
So you also have to include the mafias into the process.
That's a fantastic question. Well, I'm unable to answer that, but we just had the first consortium meeting that was in June, beginning of June in Naples. The whole consortium got together, and one of the outcomes was that they signed intended document for intended policy. So mayors and organizations, they're willing to conduct this work, and obviously they're receiving money from the EU in this project, funding. So this is a good start. But yeah, the mafia part is is very tricky. You have a question? No? But then you see how contrasting both cases are. In Amsterdam, it's just about improving something that is already happening. In Naples, you have to really first identify the problems and then go to work.
I think Thailand is in between Amsterdam and Naples, I guess, because we have cases of maybe illegal dumping in our country.
I wanted to ask you actually because what is the current situation like in Thailand or in Bangkok in terms of waste management?
It's going to be quite a long topic, I guess, but
I want to know.
In a sense, it's quite different from place to place. In Bangkok, we are relatively better in terms of managing waste, but not that good. We also have problem enforcing people to like separate different kind of waste and recycling stuff. I mean, the system is.
But the system works. Collecting of
collecting of garbage from household is working quite okay, but in a sense that the process after that it's still a mystery.
The term I'm not sure. I think it's Thailand might be like
The neighborhood.
Yeah, the neighborhood. That you have a lot of landfill that dumped the waste, and then we have a lot of problem after that, right? Yeah, and we have the contaminated site quite a lot also. Yeah.
Yeah, outside Bangkok. I think.
Outside Bangkok.
This is like the main problem. Waste management is one of the key environmental challenges.
Because my uncle also worked at the Kanchanaburi and he doing something about the contaminated site, and he told me that have a lot of problem in there, and the Thai people still not be able to separate the waste. That is a key problem.
Yeah, so this is good for us.
Yeah, well,
to learn from the project.
Maybe we can talk in a few months to I can share new outcomes of the project. This is really also in my country of origin, Colombia. Also, there are also mafias, and it's known. It's not as critical as in Naples. Of course, in the organizations they take care of the process of waste management, but there are organizations that control that. This has caused a lot of problems, politically speaking. So I'm also very curious and looking forward to how the outcomes of Reaper can be applied to growing economies and countries, developing countries like my country of region. Anyways, so moving on. This is the other two case studies, the other four. I'm not going to give many details. I just want to give you an impression that the keys, the challenges are different per case study, which makes Reaper very, very interesting and complex as well at the same time. In Poland, we have a problem of uncontrolled urban sprawl, problems linked to reuse and recycling of solid waste, water supply, wastewater, and poor air quality. So the stakeholders indicated that they want to focus on this, on uncontrolled sprawl, development of motorways, housing, service road industry. So they want to be able to apply circular economy approaches onto these activities. In the case of Peri in Hungary, like you mentioned, especially the older generation, they do not recycle. And they just burn or throw away household waste, plastic and bottles illegally. So the challenge is to decrease household waste deposits. So they want to recycle more, they want to learn, they want to encourage people, increase recycling rates, and encourage citizens to separate household waste, promote reuse and recycling of plastic and bottles. But at the same time, they don't want to be charged for this. They want to understand why this is beneficial. And this is where the concept of circular economy comes, because you not only want to reuse, but you also want to incorporate it into the economy. So you want to generate growth and development. That's create new jobs and have positive financial impacts on the region. So for the case of Ghent in Belgium, they already have some recycling approaches going on, but they want to focus on vegetable, fruit and gardening waste. They want to decrease residual waste. I don't know if you are familiar with the city of Ghent. It has have you been in Ghent, John?
Yeah.
You remember? It's a very beautiful medieval town, and very old, and the partners in Ghent indicated that for practical purposes, a medieval city is not a good site or maybe a suitable site for implementing eco-innovative strategies of circular economy approaches. For example, hard to implement new sewers, hard to put containers or source-separated collections, and lower income families are not interested. They just don't want to recycle. So this is the challenges in Ghent. And finally, in Hamburg, Germany, they focus more on open spaces that are currently under pressure for development into housing and businesses. Recycling rates is generally high, talking about Germany, but they want to focus on bio-waste because they have the lowest indicators of recycling rates. Bio-waste. which is known for good input for creating renewable energy. So they want that to be the key material. Remember, in Amsterdam, building materials; in Germany, bio-waste. In Hamburg, sorry. So they want to focus on high quality separation of recyclables and bio-waste. Just to give you an idea, the focus of every city is different. So if we want to implement repair, we have to take into account this. We're doing it now from the beginning of the process. The first two pilots are Amsterdam and Naples, and they're going on now. I'm going to explain now how we are, in methodological terms, how we are applying repair to the first two pilots. So, the goal of repair is to provide a GDSE, Geodesign Decision Support Environment. This is essentially using software in a very clear way. What for? So the GDSE will help to create integrated, place-based, eco-innovative spatial development strategies aiming at quantitative reduction of waste flows in the strategic interface of peri-urban areas. Yeah? So remember, circular economy is about minimizing waste or turning it into resource, and secondly, into turning these linear loops into a circular loops, trying to minimize waste all the while. These strategies will promote the use of waste as a resource, support the ongoing initiatives of the European Commission towards establishing a strong circular economy. They have in the research program, they have one research path on circular economy when all these project proposals or calls are available. This is Amsterdam. This is the the waste generated after the national holiday, which is used to call the Queen's Day. But now they have a king, so it's now King's Day. At the end of April, the people from all over the world and also all over the country come to Amsterdam to celebrate the birthday of the king. And this generates just an idea of all the waste, how to turn this into resource, how to use this later on. That's what we're trying to tackle in repair. For the case of Naples, there is a term called wastegapes, also known in the literature as drawscapes, and these are not materials that represent that is not waste in the form of materials, but actually is waste represented in the form of landscapes. So houses, land, all of this happening here is considered as waste and is not used in the Campania region around Naples for various reasons. As I mentioned, because the sites might be contaminated because of the irregular waste management happening there. And the idea is that to recover these drawscapes. So another challenge of repair is not only focus on flows of materials, but also flows of recovering the whole landscape. And this concept was new to me 1 year ago. Okay, so how repair is going to do this? So repair is integrating three main components. Geodesign, remember, so it's interdisciplinary planning that I mentioned around the same area. But it has more detailed description. I'll tell you more. Life cycle thinking and living labs. These three components are the core components of the repair methodology. Anyone has heard the term life cycle thinking or life cycle assessments? Have you? Oh, that was new to me also when I joined the project consortium.
I heard it once or twice. It's better if you can explain more.
Okay. Okay, so this is a repair methodology in a visual manner. So basically we have here assessment by stakeholders. They're working on the tools during a workshop on the map table. They discuss requirements and they co-design solutions and strategies for circularity. And these all gets represented in models, maps, and information. Data models, maps, and information. There are pre-calculated models, and these are a visualization component that provides feedback on the calculations. They display this on the map table and they continue discussing. That's what is called a feedback loop. So it's just to indicate that there are rounds of activities happening during a workshop, and they use the software, and it is they work in iterations. I'll give you more clarity in a bit. Geodesign, so as I said, combines multiple disciplines, or as Professor Steinitz from Harvard says, 4 spheres of disciplines that shape a collaborative team process. People of the place, stakeholders, geographical sciences, so GIS, all the models, all the environmental models, design professions, so landscape architects, designers, architects, civil engineers, and the IT, software, hardware, touch tables, software, models. And geodesign happens right here in the middle. And these 4 spheres overlap with each other. And as I said before, the key challenge of Reaper was to bring this methodology into waste management. So it's an interdisciplinary practice emerging from the collaboration of professional stakeholders working jointly on a shared focus spatial problem or place. This is the name of the book. If you're interested. He's a well-known author in the field of geodesign. Usually a keynote speaker where there is a yearly conference on geodesign called the Geodesign Summit. Also one called held in Europe. And he's always there, giving keynote addresses and participating. Another definition: design and planning method which tightly couples the creation of design proposals. So remember, proposing the future of an area, coupled with impact simulations. This is very important. So feedback, calculations, financial impacts, social impacts, environmental impacts. They need to be available during a workshop for geodesign to happen. Informed by geographic context, systems thinking, and digital technology. So, for example, when we talk about systems thinking, we're talking about, for example, flows. How much input, how much output, which is used in waste management. Another definition of Michael Flaxman. So pay attention to this. Basically, geodesign addresses 6 questions. When you are talking about the future of an area, you address these 6 questions when you're performing geodesign methodology. Yeah. So the first question is, how should the study area be described? Yeah. We follow a process from the first question onto the 6th. The first question is, how should the area be described? And the second, how does the study area operate? So here we're talking about the current situation of an area, the status quo. We want to do a waste management process in Bangkok. What is going on? What are the current numbers in terms of waste management in Bangkok? What are the recycling rates? How much waste is produced? How much of this whole waste is reused, how much is just dumped, how much is incinerated, how much is put into a landfill. And we want to improve these numbers. So in the first 2 questions, we are describing the area. Yes? Number 3, is the current study area working well? So now we're talking about evaluation models. So now we're going to quantitative assessments. So we have a 60% rate of recycling, and that's for, according to science, classifies as not good. So we need to improve that. That's we need to bring knowledge that evaluates. So in the first one, we're just saying what the numbers are. In the third step, we actually evaluate. Yeah.
So for the first one, so in Amsterdam or in Europe, you have this kind of number, right? You have this kind of data.
Yes.
Okay. In Thailand, do you have this kind of data as well?
I think data is being improved, but not. As far as I know, especially related to the responsible consumption and production stuff. The Ministry of Natural Resources are developing the data because they have international commitment to meet with the 10-year program or this kind of things. So, but not now. I think maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, the data should be
in the first workshops, we're defining the data delivery program. So we're going to ask the stakeholders which data do you need, and we tell them we need this data also for the software solution. Keep this project in the loop because the main product is open source software. It's a website, essentially, that everybody will have access to.
Yeah, because they need a lot of data. For example, how big that the waste have to be, like in a landfill or something like that, right? Yeah.
I think,
for example, for the case of Amsterdam, this data is relatively easier to find.
Okay.
You know these numbers in detail. How much plastic is recycled, how much wood, how much glass.
Okay.
But for example, for Naples or Hungary, it can be trickier.
I think for Thailand, maybe the problem is not about availability of data, but it's about fragmentation of data. I mean, when we talk to when my research on SDGs talk to the government about data, they said it's not available. But then the World Bank and OECD can generate data of Thailand because they collect from all the places and analyze and then analyze.
Asian Development Bank,
ADB as well, yeah. So I think they simply get data we have and then process and present it.
Okay.
But we don't have that kind of organization that does this.
Yeah, but Reaper is. I'm really looking forward to the lessons because we have, even in Europe, we have very contrasting case studies. I'm sure data for Poland and Hungary is going to be more difficult.
Yeah, because like one of my students at MIT doing something about lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is one thing that they're trying to bring the waste to be the new one, right? But they don't have any data about the firm that conduct the lean manufacturing in Thailand, right? And so this is, I think, it's very difficult to do the research in this kind of thing, right? Yeah. But if you say that a lot of data available in Europe,
but if not, you have to go and collect it. That's the hard part.
Yeah, the hard part, right? Yeah. Okay.
But for now we're using the data that is provided by stakeholders, and also data that's openly available. For example, land use data, and there's also many waste companies. They collect data on the operations, and we are involving them in the process, so they also are happy to share this data.
Yeah, I think that is the key process that maybe missing from us doing research in Thailand. I mean, the research is done separately from the policy process, but this is done integrated within the policy process, right?
Yeah,
all stakeholders agree to give the information data.
The first step is to get them together. You choose the stakeholders, private companies, organizations, the municipality, the provinces, stakeholders, the community, and then you ask them, okay, what do you need in terms of waste? And then you start relating that to data requirements. For example, you invite one company, waste management company, waste collection company. They will tell you, we have data from since 2010, data on recycling. The company that sells containers, they usually in the Netherlands and Germany, they collect information on these things. So if you involve them, they will be happy to share data, but it's important that there's something in it for them that they understand the benefits globally and also individually. That's very tricky. It's easy to say, but it's immensely difficult to keep everybody happy in a decision process and planning. That's what when the collaborative approaches are at the strongest. So, the 4 questions. How might the study area be altered? Yeah. We're talking about change models. So we're talking about
Sorry, I have another meeting.
how, until what time I can go on?
I think the schedule is we should end around 3:30.
Okay.
So
I think that will be done soon.
yeah, okay, so then we can have some kind of discussion Q&A.
So we have the discussion already.
I think so.
It's true.
This is the geodesign methodology. This is applied for land use planning. And as I said, we're bringing this into waste. So here in the how might the study area be altered, we're talking about how to modify an existing situation, or also how to bring new things into a situation. For example, if we need more containers to separate materials, then the software should allow us to paint them and to draw them into the map. If we want to improve the flows, for example, a flow that as output gives us less waste, we should be able to make those changes interactively on the software. And that's where the GDSE concept comes. Yeah. And so when you're bringing change into your situation, of course it's going to bring differences, quantitative and qualitative impacts. So we also have an impact framework or impact models that will tell you what happens with numbers if you change your situation. For example, in the case of Naples, if you apply a policy of sanitizing the contaminated sites and you build a school there or you build a factory there, what are the impacts of it? Yeah. And this is the 5th step, what difference might the changes cause? And the 6th step, how should the study area be changed? So this is now we're talking about final decisions. We're generating scenarios that are connected to decisions. And the geodesign process happens like this. 9 iterations, in a feedback loop. So whenever you're receiving here the feedback on the impacts, the changes, you're going back to the design, you make more changes, you discuss, you negotiate, you change, and then you complete the cycle. And it happens, of course, during a workshop, and the geodesign team carries out this.
So for the model, like what really or like the cost benefit analysis or what really that will be used for the model, because this is a crucial thing, right? Because you will get the number.
We are planning to use in Reaper so-called sustainability framework, which consists of I believe it's 35 indicators for sustainability. So they're going to tell you how circular is your method, your strategy, how good is for the environment, money, climate change. And this is a combination of many disciplines. My talk of a week ago was about only sustainability impacts, only for small projects. In Reaper, we're using a lot more indicators.
Okay. And in that model, you will have divide into the household, firms, government, and something like that or not. Because in terms of like international trade, we have something is called like the CGE model. And then in the CGE model, they will divide into like the household, the firms, industry, the country around the world, right? And then they have some chalk that chalk into the model, and then the model simulate and give you some like number.
Well,
so I'm not sure that how this.
Maybe I have a slide that shows you the impacts. It's something like this.
Okay.
So you compare the status quo with the new situation that you're changing. And you have indicators. Noise pollution, odor pollution, emissions, all this is quantified in charts on the map table. I'll get to that. So I'm going back to where I was. Okay. So essentially, impact models are, they measure the consequences of your changes. Yeah? Say, for example, in terms of waste management, if you build, you put containers in the city, if you improve flows, for example, if you make a transportation route shorter from, that is part of a food chain, you know, or for example, if you, in the case of plastic bottles, you produce the bottles out of plastic, you want to distribute them to different distribution points like supermarkets or stores. And if you're able to shorten these distances, optimize the system, you should be able to do it on the GDSE and also to see the impacts, how all the numbers change, how they move up and down in seconds. That's our challenge. So why design? Because it's an interdisciplinary process, uses extensive use of digital data in design, evaluation, and communication. So data is key. You need the right data, also with the right scale. And it gives a prominent role to design by developing a spatial solution to a specific place-based problems. So important is a collaborative design. Altogether, design or co-design strategies for waste management. It's transdisciplinary. So it's crucial. Okay, this is about the project management. Well, we'll go quickly over this one. The project is divided into 8 work packages. The first one is management. Okay. Second one is developing and implementing a GDSE. It is a package in which I'm the most involved. It's about designing the software, the open source website that will be used in the map table during the workshop. Yeah. Number 3, this is our content-based work package. It's about developing and implementing territorial metabolism-based representation and process models. So this is about representing material flows for all the activities involved in the cities, in the peri-urban areas. So what happens to plastic? How is the process of plastic, glass, gardening, all these are models. So it's a completely different science. The fourth, developing and implementing sustainability, impact, and evaluation models. It's what we just discussed, indicators. And also life cycle assessments that will tell you how circular your strategies are. Number 5, also I'm very highly involved there. It's about developing eco-innovative solution and change strategies. This is about the workshops that will be organized for the process of each metropolitan area. So all of them are crucial. I have my most involvement in the second one, software, and the collaboration and the organization of the Living Labs workshops. 7 and 8 are knowledge transfer and communication of results. Those are standard packages. Yeah. So life cycle thinking, basically it's about going from the process that starts at extraction of raw material, finishes at the end of life of that material. And involves transportation, processing, more transportation, power manufacturing, assembly, product use, end of life. There are approaches that have been developed to measure the performance of a life cycle. That's not my expertise, so I cannot give you a lot of detail on it. But we're including these approaches in the impact evaluation models that are used within the GDSE in repair. Yeah. This gives you an idea about life cycle assessment. This next slide is just some theory. It's an internationally standardized methodology, life cycle assessments. In short, quantify environmental pressures related to goods, services, products, environmental benefits, trade-offs, areas for achieving improvements considering the full life cycle of the product. So it looks at the product or service as a cycle and assesses the performance of it. It has two parts. So it's a LCI and LCIA. The first one is about collecting data that is relevant for these assessments. And the second one is about the indicators. The list of indicators that will reflect how circular a strategy is. Okay. And this is the whole science. It's, the University of Ghent is a leader in scientific terms of this part. Are you familiar with the term living lab? Living lab?
We heard a lot about labs, like policy labs or something like that.
It was also a new term for me. I was very much aware of workshops because I used it in my thesis and my work a lot. But living lab was a new term, and it's essentially a platform that combines the geodesign life cycle assessment approach to discuss and co-design solutions and strategies and challenges in waste and resource management. So the living labs in Greek are called Peri-Urban living labs or poles. So every city has a Peri-Urban living lab or pole. So we have Pole Amsterdam, we have Pole Hamburg, Pole Naples, etc. Essentially, imagine a pole as a short decision process in which the whole of the geodesign process is happening. Yeah? So essentially, it consists of a number of meetings structured differently in terms of type and participants. So as you see, it's very connected to my approach in my dissertation. Remember the workshops, design, analysis, negotiation? We call it here poles. Every pole involves a series of workshops with stakeholders from the field of waste and resource management and are asked to participate in a co-designing process for solutions and strategies. In these workshops, we provide a GDSE software that they will use to support their decisions and to support this communication. Remember the Computerized Interactive Communication Tool, or GDSE. The core goal of REPAIR is to develop, testing, and apply this GDSE when in the poles, the Peri-Urban living labs. I indicated this is going to be an open source product. So we cannot use any commercial software into the REPAIR. It all has to be open source, which is also poses a challenge also. It's very nice that it will be open source in the end. At the end of the project, we'll have an open source product. Obviously, it's not only software, but it's a methodology that combines geodesign, LCA, and the living labs. And the idea is that it can be applied because we have 6 different case studies, so we're going to demonstrate the versatility of all. So maybe, hopefully, it can be also considered to be applied in countries like Thailand or Colombia that has different waste situations. So the GDSE is not only software, it consists of 2 columns. The first column is called the Peri-Urban Living Lab, the pole. So it's the pole lasts for Amsterdam and Naples 6 months. So it's an ongoing process. And we have workshops and meetings happening throughout the 6 months. That's a living lab. It's not only one workshop, it's just a series of workshops happening. Like in my methodology and my PhD. And it has a second column called internal text research of the team members. So during the 6-month period, research is happening on waste management, research is happening on we're getting new data, we're creating the models, and this is being fed back into the pole. Such that at the end of the pole, we have all the data and all the stakeholders have made decisions. So this is how the interaction between the 2 columns in the GDSE happens. So we're doing the polls, we have results that are fed into the research, and the research generates new knowledge and models that is fed back into the polls to generate ultimately the feedback, the real-time instant feedback that we're going to use during the final workshops. Yeah, am I clear up, please? So the software is going to look more or less like this. So imagine this, you open this in a browser, Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, Mozilla, Firefox. We are at the design stage. Basically you see here 5 buttons or stages. Study area, flows, the indicators, the assessments, the co-design, and the decisions. So basically these 5 buttons are connected to the 6 questions of the design framework methodology. So we're always going to work in loops using the software. First, we see the study area. So this is Hamburg, for example. And we see the waste management situation described as charts and tables. So this is going to be numbers. Tell you what's going on in Bangkok, what are the current recycling rates for material A, B, C, D. Imagine that here. This is just a model.
Okay, and you have the representatives.
Say again?
You have the representatives.
Yeah. The software solution is going to look like this. Then we see the flows here in a flow chart kind of way. So we can select the focus area, we can select the whole metropolitan area, we can zoom in, zoom out, and we see the flows of materials that are key in the case study. So for example, for the case of Hamburg, this is going to be materials related to waste, bio-waste. For Amsterdam, it's going to be building materials. Naples is going to be wastegapes, and I'm forgetting now, but you get the picture. Yeah? And also, the GDC will allow you to see these flows on the real space, on a map. So you can actually redesign the flows, make them shorter, try to optimize them, or try to include new nodes. The idea is that you can interactively modify the current status quo into alternative courses of action. Thus, flows. In the next step, you see the assessments, the indicators, life cycle assessments and sustainability indicators. Think of the SDGs. So you can, for example, select the status quo and select other case studies and compare as you go. The idea is that you can request during a poll meeting, hey, I want to see what's going on in this indicator with this city, so you can support your activities. Yes? This is just an example. You can also draw areas. For example, the indicator of spatial nature. Think of noise pollution, bio-waste stations that would cause odor. You can see here the odor being mapped. It's going to affect houses and residential areas, etc. So the GDC will allow you to modify status quo, to draw, and also to be informed about impact. Now when you're talking about co-design, this is when you start actually proposing eco-innovative strategies and solutions for your case study. Underfloor collectors, flexible bins, all these should be able to input in your tool. This is just an example for Hamburg. So you can, for example, draw containers, you can draw, you can assign waste types, etc. And finally, in the decisions button, well, you will make final decisions to implement them. You see the assessments, but remember that this happens in a loop. So you don't go from A to B to C. You just go to A to B, or you evaluate, you go back, you redraw, you make decisions, you negotiate, you continue as the geo-design framework steps. That's the main guiding framework. Map table for the Reaper. So the idea is to have the GDC here. We have 5 of this 27-inch quite large. Map tables for every case study. So Amsterdam will have 5, Naples will have 5. And the idea, this is some tests that we run. We run different tests to try to come up with a practical size or most optimal size for the touch label. And we conclude that this is the best size in terms of portability and also group support. Yeah. There are 3 types of pool workshops happening during the living lab. So remember the 6-month period for every city, and every 6-month period there is 3 types of pool workshops. There are first type geodesign workshop, second one is student geodesign workshops, and the third one final geodesign workshops. I forgot to say that key partners for each case study are universities. At least one university is involved for every case study, and they are using the students of architecture and waste management and urbanism. They're helping us testing the tools and also testing the methodologies. So in these student workshops that happen also during the pool, the students will help us testing the developed tools and technologies. We'll run also dry sessions of stakeholders, so we have a workshop structure and run it with the students to see if it works out, if there's some logistics and preparation time, etc. And then, then there's the final design workshop with stakeholders. They come and they work with the tools. Yeah. This is just an example. For the case study of Amsterdam, we have the first workshop here. So we define the study area with the objectives, the needs, etc. This is the second type of workshops. So keep in mind that there are 3 types of workshops. Yes? But it doesn't mean that there will be 3 workshops in the pool. You can have more. But each workshop has to be defined in terms of one type. Understand that? For example, here for Amsterdam we are defining 5 workshops, but the workshop 2 and 3 will be of type 2. And the 4 and 5 they will be with stakeholders. These ones we are testing. Also, the students are helping us proposing eco-innovative solutions for recycling and circularity based on supervision for the university. And we're using this as inputs to test our software tool, and we also showed that to the stakeholders during the final workshops. Yeah, so during the whole pool, you have research happening. Remember the second column on the right? And on the left side, you have the workshops happening. So that's why it's called a living lab. It's a process, an ongoing process that will stop when we're at the end. I'm reaching the end of my talk. This is just an example of indicators that are relevant and rigor. There are more. I just selected a sample so you have an idea of what is being assessed and what is communicated to the workshop participants. Emissions. So this is the topics: circularity, recycling rates, how much renewable energy are you generating, how much energy you're using. Are you using say circularity building materials, contamination of water, soil like in Naples, ecology, noise pollution, air pollution, hazardous substances, for example, hazardous substances like those in gas stations or factories or plants, odor pollution, light pollution, humidity. It's just an example. And these are more in numerical terms, the indicators that are, it's not the whole list, but just to give you an idea. How much improve energy use, how much renewable energy are you generating out of your waste, air pollution, it's just an example, it's to get an idea. And this is going to be portrayed as a bar chart onto the GDC software. This is strongly connected to SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. And I use this slide to conclude my talk. Very glad that I came here, and this is just all connected to the Sustainable Development Agenda goal, which is end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for all. Some information if you want to follow up on this. I'm very happy to share information with any of you, and also always need to come back and share more progress. And if you go to h2020repair.eu, you will see a lot of information on the progress of repair as well. This is information about myself. Thank you for your attention.
Well,
hopefully we can continue the discussion.
yes, who would like to, I think we have about 15 minutes left. So I think it's time for open the floor for any questions, comments that haven't been mentioned in the discussion we have so far.
I'm aware that I brought a lot of information.
Well, I must say that this is further than just a research. It's more like it's a combination of research, of models, frameworks, combined with data, information technologies, and also the process of workshop, collaborative planning, combining together to become a tool for policymakers, for stakeholders to work together. So I think for me, I read the abstract, but I didn't expect it to be more, to be this advanced in the sense that it's like a utilization of research. This project pushes it further than just be proposing policy implementation for policymakers, but including the policy process into the research, and then use the research result to influence policy. Absolutely. For me, I'm very impressed with the presentation.
I think this is thank you, Joel. I think this is a massive project, and maybe we are not fully aware of the amount of disciplines that we are involved in.
But as you mentioned, it's a massive project. Before anyone asking question, let me ask one question first. What is the main challenges for this, or even from your experience in your PhD project? What is the main challenge or limitations using this approach?
Yeah, in my PhD, the challenge was to use maps, because maps are not. If you look at the Google Maps, you might think, okay, maps are easy to use. I can just pull my phone and look at Google Maps and go from A to B easy, or to send my location to a friend. But when you think about all the types of maps that are involved in the process of sustainable development, you're gonna find some really tricky maps. And that was the challenge in my PhD, just to try to make these maps as easy to use as possible during a workshop. That's why I came up with this methodology of touch table, process support, workshops, and tools. And I was very excited when I heard that they wanted to implement this in the field of waste. Now we're not talking only about maps, we're talking about flows. So how to make flows understandable to stakeholders, to me, was a huge challenge. Also life cycle assessments. These assessments are, some of them are spatial, like odor and noise pollution, air pollution. Then you have other life cycle assessment that are not spatial. How do you communicate that during a workshop? So back to your question, the challenge is to, in my eyes, and my expertise is to apply this type of approaches, collaborative approaches to flows, to waste.
I think it's really big job for me. I think that include many things in that. But can I ask two questions? Okay. One is give me some example. Could you give me some example of who are the stakeholders that you invite in Amsterdam, for example? Because I'm thinking about Thailand. For example, if we would like to apply this kind of thing, the stakeholder that you invite, they will fight to each other, like the NGO, they will okay or not, or something like that. So could you give me some example of the stakeholder that you have? And the second one is about the model that you have, because it's quite important that you can provide some number, right? You say to us that you can provide some number. But the framework here, you apply for all the places that you go, or you change. Because you have the framework, you have the model. This kind of model is applied for the places that you assess or not, or you change some number in the model. You change coefficients. So maybe I'm not 100% understand about or understood about your model that you have. Could you collaborate more or elaborate more about that?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
First question. We're going to have the first pool workshop mid-September. So I will be back from Thailand and I have to get to work with we have already a venue, we have a workshop structure, and we have invited 50 stakeholders to participate in the first workshop. You remember the first workshop? It's about defining the scope of the project and decision needs. So every stakeholder is going to indicate these are our needs, these are our data, and we need this data. For the case of Amsterdam, we have invited the municipality of Amsterdam, so a representative of the pertinent office connected to circular economy. There is an office in Amsterdam, circular economy. Also,
is it an office of companies?
Yeah. There is also the surrounding municipalities, particularly the municipality of Haarlem here, where the main lab is. They're sending also representatives. At the airport, Schiphol, as you can imagine, an airport is quite an important generator of waste. It's like in a small city. You think about it. An airport is just constantly using products and materials and waste. So they also send in we are inviting also a representative from Amsterdam Airport, Schiphol. There is an institute, also part of it's called the Amsterdam Metropolitan Studies Institute, the AMS. I don't know if you know, it's an institute that is also from the collaboration with the TU Delft, the University of Delft, MIT in Boston, and Wageningen University in Holland, in the Netherlands. There's this institute called Amsterdam Metropolitan Institute. They also going to host and send people universities. So TU Delft is going there too. Also, we will have maybe one representative for each city, although they're not connected to the non-stakeholder. But we want them to at least one. If they can send one, say the one from Hungary, from Poland, from Naples, Germany, and Belgium, that would be great. There are private companies that deal with waste. There are quite a few that also are going to send representatives. And these companies also collect data on recycling. Also, there are distribution centers or supermarkets also sending stakeholders, citizens, so the council. We're talking about 50 people. Because it's the first workshop, we want to tell them, okay, well, of course they're all aware of the project, but we want to give them a feel of the workshop to as many as possible.
Can I have a follow-up question? Let's say we organize the pool workshop in Naples, and I'm sure that there will be more conflicting parties involved. would you invite the conflicting parties in the first workshop as well to define the scope of the project?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. Yeah, because at first you're defining the problem. So you're not really. Of course, they're going to show the information and communicate, in a face-to-face manner. So I'm going to hear what your problem is. But at the moment, no decisions are being made. We're just making an inventory of needs and data. So it's crucial that all stakeholders and the stakes are clear.
And then you use the map table at the first time that they came into the workshop or next step?
Well, in the first workshop, we might use the map tables just to show information and to collect feedback on opinions. Yeah, so for example, we show, okay, this is what we're proposing for Amsterdam. What do you think? They're going to say, oh, I think here we're going to have this and that, so we're going to record that, so they will be allowed to draw it on the map. So we're not talking about any impact tools now. It's just about defining the play game, the game field. So because the GDSE is still in process, it's a whole process in which the tool is designed. Hopefully after the pilot 1 and 2, Amsterdam and Naples, we'll have a pilot 2 that we can use at the end of each pool Amsterdam and pool Naples, and also for the subsequent pools.
And my second question?
The models.
The model.
Can you repeat?
Okay. Okay, so I mean you have 50 people in the workshop, and you might have the map table at first time that they need. For the second one, I asked about the model because this is an important thing that will generate the number, and people will discuss based on this number, right? So you use the same model for the different area, or you change the model?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
So remember the GDSE, the geodesign decision support environment. It has 2 columns. It's 2 processes that happen in a parallel way at the same time. Here is at the pole, so it's the whole living lab, all the workshops happening, and simultaneously you have the internal desk research of the team members. So all the content, all the impacts, the calculations, the science that is behind these calculations happens here. So the idea is that in the whole pool that we have before we hold the stakeholder workshops at the end. Remember the third type, that we already have an agreement on how the models are, how the numbers are calculated.
So
can you?
Does it mean that the models that you use for the 6 places are the same, or you have to modify them to fit the context?
Absolutely.
You have to modify
Yeah,
them.
we have to. That's with scholarity, so it's.
So some models used in Amsterdam might not be used in Naples.
Well, the methodology will be applied. So using living labs and geodesign and map table.
But the model that is used.
That's place. Remember the place based.
Okay, so it depends on.
Would you like to encourage the rest of the guys to pose a question?
Yes, actually, I was going to. I mean, we have audience from outside faculty of economics. I would like to also invite you to ask some questions. I mean, we have been discussing quite a lot. So.
Did you really understand what my story was? Because I think it's my first time that I speak about this project since it's an ongoing, it started. So I want to know if I made sense.
It can also be like clarification questions as well, or some other discussion points. I mean, yeah.
I have one question about the open source software that you're using in this project. Which kind? Yes. Which kind of open source software that you're using in this project? Thank you.
That's a question. Or you have more? Because the software must be open source. Yeah. And if I show you this, the software is built by Work Package 2. It's going to be a website. So
WebGIS.
it's a combination of WebGIS and also combination of software for sustainability indicators. So you have to code that, and also life cycle assessments. They have their own software, and this is a big challenge because we have to include this in an open source matter into the GDSE. Life cycle assessments. There is software for this. I have just seen it. Or you can also do it in an Excel spreadsheet. You can do life cycle assessment. But it's a very complicated spreadsheet. You can have open source spreadsheets, Google Docs or Open Office. For this is the material flow analysis. There is also software. So the idea is to integrate that into a WebGIS. We're using GeoServer. Are you familiar? Which is open source for all the geographic information, the WebGIS. And we want to combine that. It's quite a task.
So it's not ready-made software. You have to combine different things together, writing code, some of them from ground up.
Exactly. In my PhD, I used ArcGIS, and that's commercial, and but I think I was not required to use open source. But for Peri-Urban, we have that challenge. So we want to make it available to all the cities.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Would you like to add more questions or comments from before? Yes, thank you.
Just simple question. What is the your indicator of the financial sustainability in your result part that you come with the sustainability that have a kind of environmental and social and economics?
Yeah.
I have seen just it might be just my mistake. I have seen just what is the environmental impact or environmental indicator. What is your? Could you mention about your economic indicator in your model?
That's an excellent question. I must say this list is just a list that I used, mostly referring to environmental indicators, mostly. And yes, there are social indicators and economic. I did not include them. But in terms of economic, you can think of, for example, jobs generated, whether there's any profit involved, or how the strategy affects local economies in terms of measure of GDP in a local way. I don't know if that exists. Essentially, how the idea is that also your designs are evaluated in terms of how they affect the local economies. But the whole idea is that those changes that we bring in are beneficial also in economic terms. That's a very good question. Maybe do you have an idea, Chol?
Well, I think if you base your model on like sustainability framework, I presume that you would include economic and also social data into the model, even though you just show only the environmental data. I mean, to tackle sustainability issues, we must tackle them simultaneously, environmental, social, and economic issues. So, but that is a good question. Thank you very much.
Also for the social part, it's tricky to assess and strategy in terms of social impact. For example, perception of benefit. Whether actually this community perceives this as positive. This is a very subjective thing to measure, but it's also included in the framework, I'm sure. I was just focusing mostly on environment because it's my angle. Great question.
yeah, maybe next time he can come and present the model. I think it's very important, and very interesting also. Right? Yeah, to see how this kind of thing work in the model. Whatever that you include, right? Yeah.
Actually, I think ProGreen, the policy research on green economy, the center we have, I think they plan to organize an international conference next year, and I think the theme will be related to this like responsible consumption and production, and also the circular economy. I guess if we are lucky, I think we would have a chance to see the progress of repair project.
The conference is in where?
In Bangkok.
Well, keep in touch.
Yes.
I'll be glad to come back.
Yeah, I think if we
For
can.
the third time to this.
If we can really see what is going on in the map table for real, it would be more interesting. Also for the scholars.
I'm also very curious. I had no idea that this approach will be taken to this area.
I think this framework is quite interesting for me because it's like a new for me. But I thought that the key important, you have to choose the stakeholder, right? The important thing, right? The crucial thing, good stakeholder that can give you good conclusions. And the second one that's important is the model that you use, right? That because you have the number for the discussion, right? And if you have the good model, I think it will be like a good solutions also, right? So if someone want to apply this kind of thing, two things have to keep in mind. Yeah, I think next time is you come and you can present us on the model, right? I think it would be more.
I'll be delighted,
Yeah.
So I think also because of the time, and I think we already have a very fruitful presentations and discussions. I think this presentation not only shows the possibilities of how the work of researchers and academics can go. This presentation shows that we can go even further in terms of collaboration between science and also collaboration between researchers and stakeholders in order to influence policies and also achieve sustainability. So it's not only open our frontier from economics to other sciences, but also how can we use sciences for something better, something for sustainability.
Yeah.
So on behalf of Faculty of Economics, I would like to thank Dr. Gustavo Arciniegas, right, for presenting his research today. And